For this video, I'm going to show you how to do the first step in laying out your chapter book. Before we get started, make sure you've got access to the text file that has the entire inner book pages, as well as the in-text images that you can place within your design. And by now, you should have also started or completed your page layout exercise. This needs to be finished because we want to take and pick and choose the different style options from each of your 5 different layouts you've created. You don't have to stay with one particular set. You can pick and choose from the different options to lay out the book the way you want. But this needs to be finished first before you start laying out your inner pages. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is to open up our paragraph and chapters styles panels. If you don't see them off to the right hand side, you can always go up to Window, down to Styles, and make sure to choose Paragraph Styles, or if you've got individual characters, Character Styles. I've already got mine open, so I'm going to drag it off so we can see it working here. What we want to do is to choose each of the different styles that we like and save them up as a paragraph style. For instance, I'm going to grab my Type tool, and I'm going to select the body copy. Just one paragraph is all that we need because this is the type of body copy that I want for my final book. So with it selected, we can go to our paragraph style and create a new style, then double click on it and we can give it a name. In this case, I'm going to call it body copy and say OK to that. Do this for each of the different styles of text that you have. For instance, I like the way my chapter title for option 3 was also laid out. So I'm going to select this, go to my chapter or paragraph styles, create a new one. In this case, I'm going to call it chapter title. Another thing you may want to save is if I've got my first paragraph for the start of my chapter title. So I'm going to make a new one for this one, double click on it and call it first paragraph. There we go. Now, if you do have a single character that needs to be uniquely saved, for instance, if you've got like my uppercase letter 3 or maybe a drop cap that's a different color, if those are the case, make sure you save that under your character styles. Character styles are only saving one individual character, but if you try to apply it to a paragraph style, that's going to apply it to all the characters in there, and they may not be what you want. For instance, in my headers and footers down here at the very bottom, I want my bottom text to have these fancy characters set here. So I'm going to save this as a character style down at the bottom. Just like we do with our paragraph style, we'll create a new one and then double click on the name. And I'm going to call this my footer ornament. And say OK to that. And I'm even going to highlight my text here and create another character style. Call this my footer page number and say OK to that. By the end of this, you can have paragraph styles for your headers, your body copy, any special paragraphs, chapter titles, anything that you need should be saved up under a paragraph style or down as a character style on your sheet. The final thing you're going to need to make note of is your margins on your page that you want. For me, I liked option number 3, so I'm going to choose option number 3's page. In this case, it's on pages 9 and 10. And we can go up to Layout, Margins and Columns, and make note of the margins and columns for the top and bottom and the inside and outside of your page. For me, I'm going to take a screenshot of this just so I can see it later, because this is how we're going to set up our actual template for our inside of our book. I'll hit cancel for that. With this done, we can save up our InDesign document by going to File and Save, and this will save all of our styles that we have so that we can use them later on. Now we can minimize this, we'll come back to it later, and let's create our new InDesign template. To create our template, let's go up to File, down to New, and create a new document. Our document's going to be measured in units of inches, and make sure the width of it is 6 inches wide by 9 inches tall. Also make sure Facing Pages is checked on with the primary text frame. As far as the margins go, we can open this up and you can see that it has a top and a bottom, an inside and an outside. Now I wrote mine down, or I took a screenshot of it, so I'm going to pull it up here. But you should have written yours down so that you can see yours and know where it's at. In my case, I'm going to match up these numbers. So my top needs to have a 0.625 with a bottom of 1 inch, an inside of 0.75, and an outside of 0.6875. With that done, we'll scroll on down and open up our bleed and slug, and make sure you have a bleed setting of 0.125 on all sides. That should give you 1/8 of an inch all the way around your document. We won't need anything for the slug, so we're going to keep that set to 0 and say create. Now this is going to give you just a solid blank document. And from here, we're going to set up a template in which all of our chapters can be created. So the first thing that we need to do is to start setting up our master pages that all of our pages can flow into. To get started with this, open up your Pages panel and double-click on the A master page. This will take you into master editing mode, and anything we place on these pages will automatically populate into our regular pages. The next thing we need to do is to import our paragraph and character styles. In order to do this, open up your Paragraph Styles panel, click on the Panel Options, and scroll down to Load Paragraph Styles. Paragraph styles are always saved along with the document or the InDesign document that you saved them in. So in our case, we can locate our page layout options that you worked on, and with that selected, say Open. It's going to ask you which styles we want to load up. We're just going to say OK and get all of them. And now I've imported all of those paragraph styles that were already saved in my layout options. Let's do the same thing since I had a couple of character styles. Again, go to the Options panel. We're going to load character styles. And then we're going to find our page layout options exercise and say Open to that and OK for that as well. And this should bring in all of those different styles to work from. Now let's set up our headers and footers and anything that we need for our page design. Going back to my page layout options design, locate the header and footer style that you wanted. In my case, I wanted my headers and footers to look like this. So I'm going to select my headers at the top and I'll copy those over by going to Edit, Copy, jumping back into here. We can paste those right in the same spot. You may have to adjust the placement of it. So in my case, let's go over here. I'm going to select mine and make sure it fits inside of these top margins. Same way for this one. And I'll also go through and get my footers down at the bottom. Copy that, Command C, jump into here, Command V to paste it into there, and place them where they need to go down at the bottom down here. Now one thing I do need to make sure that I've got is the styling for each one of these. So I'm going to take some time to go up here and select this. I want to make sure this has the same paragraph style that I saved for my header. So with one click, we've got it set to that. Let's go over to our other paragraph style and do the same for Charlotte Bronte. Whoops, making sure it has the header. And then going down here at the bottom, these are character styles. So I want to make sure those are set to be a decoration. So I highlight them, going down here and setting to decoration. And then highlight my page number. You can see that one's set to page number. Let's do the same for this side too. Highlight the decoration. You may not have to do this for your design, but I'm doing it for mine just to make sure it's set up. Alright, so with paragraph styles applied to everything on the master page, the last thing we need to do is to turn on our automatic page numbering. To do this, highlight the page numbers that you already have. In this case, I'll do it for the number 3. You can go up to Type. Down at the very bottom, choose a special character. It's going to be a marker for the current page number. Now when you do this, your current page number is going to be the letter A because we're on the A master. Let's do this to our right page as well. So highlight it, type, insert a special character. It's going to be a marker for the current page number. And this will give us our page number set for this. With that done, we can jump back into our regular pages by double-clicking page 1, and this will give you an idea of what it looks like. You can see now it's page 1 set to here. The final thing that you may want to do is to do a separate master page for your chapter title or any other special pages within your chapters. You don't have to do this because you may have yours set up to follow the same structure as every other page. But if you need to, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up to my Pages panel and double click on my master page to go into Master Options. And then I'm going to choose to create a new B master by clicking on the New Master at the bottom. The B master is where I'm going to place my chapter title design into it. My chapter title, I want it to look like option number 3 that has a large character or the large number behind it. Also, I want the page margins to be slightly different for this page, and I don't want it to have any runners down at the bottom. So let's set up a master page for it. I'm going to highlight my 3, Command C to copy it. Let's jump back into our B master page. I'm going to paste it right where it needs to go. In this case, I'm going to place it just right there. Also, with my B master selected, let's go up to my layout. I'm going to change my margins. I want both my inside and outside margins to be exactly the same. So I'm going to set those to be 0.75 so that they're nice and even. With that done, let's also place a 3 on the other side in the exact same spot. This way, if a chapter starts on the right side, I'll have it there, or on the left side of the page, I'll have it set up with there as well. Also notice on this master page, I don't have any headers or footers, which is the way I want my page to be designed. With my chapter title designed and also my inside pages designed, now I can click on page 1, go back to normal page mode, and I'll put my paragraph styles out of the way. And let's save this as a chapter template. To do this, I'll go up to File, down to Save As, and I'm going to give it the title of Book Template. You can give it another name if you need for yours, but the main thing is we want to change the format for this to be an InDesign template page. This way, whenever I open up my design, it automatically has everything set up exactly the way I need it to be. We'll say save and close it out. And now we're ready to begin laying out each of the chapters for our book. To get started for this, locate your book template design that you just created, double-click it, and open up a new document. Notice when you do this, it's going to be just an untitled document. It's not a template, so anything that we do to this will be totally separate and it will not destroy your original design. What we want to do is to open up our text document for our inner pages and locate each of the text for each chapter. So for instance, I'm going to start off with chapter 1 and highlight all of the text just for that chapter, scrolling down to make sure I can go just to chapter 2. There it is at the end of it right here. It may take you a little while, but make sure that you've got just the end of chapter for the chapter that we're starting on. We'll go up to Edit and copy this. Let's jump back into InDesign and then choose your type tool and click on the first automatic page text box. When we go to edit and paste our chapter into it, notice that it automatically flows and adds the appropriate number of pages to your document. This is going to save a lot of time for setting up and placing all of your text into your page. The next thing we can do is to use our paragraph and character styles to start formatting our book. I'm going to do Command A to select all of my text. And the first thing I'll do is to choose my body copy and have it automatically set the body copy that I have. Notice that when it does this, it'll also reflow your text and add on more pages if necessary. Now for my chapter titles, I'm going to select that, hit a page return, and then choose my chapter title to automatically format this. And then I'll remove my Roman numeral so that I can add my regular numeral. Do this for any other formatting that you need for your text. In my case, I also had a first paragraph that I wanted a drop cap for it to start on. Now, another thing that you may want to consider, you don't have to for your book, if your chapter wants to start, say, on the left page instead of the right page. Keep in mind, whenever you lay out your design, it's always going to start off with the first page being on the right-hand side as you see it here. Then later on, it will swap over to the left page. However, if you've got a particular design for your book where you want it to start on a set number of pages, whether the left or the right-hand side, you need to be able to design it for that design. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to choose my type tool, and let's say I want my chapters always to start on this left page, which is actually an even number for my pages. So for this, I'm going to insert my blinking cursor at the very beginning, and I'm going to have it hop over to the next even page. We're going to do this by going up to Type, inserting a break character for an even page break. And this will put it on whatever the next even page happens to be. Again, you don't have to do this for your book, but for mine, I'm going to show you how to lay it out in case you want it for yours. The other thing I want to do is I want this page to be formatted just like my chapter design should be. I've got those saved under my B master, so I'm going to select the leftmost B master, click on it, and drag it on top of page 2. You can see how the B is applied, and it also applies my little page number up at the top. The final thing I need to do is to change my chapter number. Remember, because this number is placed on top or within a master page, we need to override that page number. You can do this by holding down Shift and Command as you click on it, and now you can see it unlocks that, and we can use our type tool to type in the chapter number and reset it for there. All right, now that I've gone ahead and formatted all of chapter 1, I can save this. We'll go up to File and Save As, and in our case, we're going to call this Jane Eyre Chapter 1 and save it as a regular InDesign document. Once it's saved, you can repeat this process for all of the different chapters within your book, laying out the inner pages, formatting the body copy, and formatting the chapter titles. Repeat this process for all of the chapters, and when you're finished, you should have an InDesign document for every chapter that's inside of your book. Now keep in mind, every book is going to have a different number of chapters, so yours may be different from what I have, but they should all be saved within a folder so that you can easily and quickly access them. The last thing that we need to do is to place our in-text images into the appropriate chapters once you've placed all the text within each of the chapter. To place a picture within your design, first we need to locate where those pictures are. To do this, we can go up to Edit and down to Find and Change, or hit Command F. Within your text, I've placed a special word called in text, all one word, inside of the Find What field. So type in text, do make sure you're searching for the document, and you can say Find Next. This will search all through your document and it will find where you can see this particular image. In this case, in text image P30S should be inserted within this particular area. With that done, let's go ahead and create a picture frame. So I'm going to grab my picture frame tool and then click and drag and create a certain picture frame. Now at this time the size of it won't matter. I just want to have a particular individual frame. We can then go to File and Place, and let's locate those in-text images. Remember, all of these images are found in the in-text images folder, and I'm looking for P30S, which is this image located right here. When we say Open, this will be placed inside of our picture frame, and if you need to, you can automatically have it fill in and fit the frame that you've got. Now with this done, there's a lot of different ways we can place our image within our design. First off, I can place it simply right on top of my text, and I can resize and reformat the frame to have it fit inside of my page like this. Or I can have it completely fill out the entire page altogether, and have it look something like this. So that's also an option if you wanted to. A final way you could do it, if it works for your image, is to have it crop just part of the text and then have it fit down this way within your design. Whatever works best for you. The main thing to remember is, with your image selected, make sure you turn on text wrapping. So I've got the frame selected. Let's turn on text wrap, and this will push the picture out of the way. With text wrap turned on, you may also need to add some image outset or wraparound. So I'm going to go to Window and turn on my text wrapping options. There it is. And by increasing the number, this will increase the amount of space that's around that image as well. So placing your image within the area where it says the in text image is going to be very important, because this picture corresponds with the text that you have. And making sure that you've got turned on the automatic text wrap comes in handy, because we want to be able to push the picture out of the way and have it set. I'm going to set my image for this one to be set for this. With that done, the last thing I need to do is to get rid of my in-text image tag. So I can select it, delete it away, and turn that into normal text, working from there. Repeat this process for finding all of the in-text images within each of the chapters. So I can say find next until it says it can't find any more matches, and now I've found it all for just this chapter. I can close out chapter 4, open up chapter 5, 6, all the different chapters, and go through and place the images as you need. Once you've got all of the images placed and your text laid out and formatted, all of your chapter designs is finished. You can now move on to the second part of this, which deals with laying out and putting together the entire book and setting up the table of contents.